Hey everyone, this is Clinton,
And this is Dalton.
and this is the LA2 Wrestling Podcast.
So without further ado, let's get ready to podcast!
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the LA2 Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about all wrestling from the past, present, and future. We are back. Are you excited, Dalton?
I am, because we're back just in time for WrestleMania season, and this is going to be a first for the podcast. Hopefully it transitions into something that we can do almost every month, or maybe every other month, just as a little side episode, not really in chronological order with all the other episodes. So this one won't really have a number with it or anything like that. We are doing predictions for the upcoming WrestleMania. The two-night event, the second two-night event following WrestleMania 36. This WrestleMania will have, that's down right now, 12 matches. 14 possible matches, 2 matches have been rumored. So,
We will discuss those two matches.
yeah, we're going to go through it. And quickly, I will discuss what we'll be doing in this. Me and Clinton have been doing predictions for a couple years now for pay-per-views, similar to how Cultaholic has done their wrestling predictions. And so, as you could probably tell by the thumbnail, this is a head-to-head thing. We're fighting for supremacy in the pay-per-view market.
Yeah, it's pay-per-view market. Sure, why not?
I don't know where I was going for that. As you could tell by the thumbnail, we're going head-to-head for the pay-per-view championship. Now, this is not a specifically designed championship. We don't have a custom design yet. This is something we've talked about just because we're nerds. But we want something like that. But as for right now, it is just a replica championship of the network logo that we've had for almost 5 years now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've basically been going back and forth with that the last couple of years during pay-per-views. Whoever comes out on top with the most points after each pay-per-view wins the title. If someone holds the title and it goes into a draw, nobody wins and it retains. It's kind of like how you would see in a match if a DQ happened or something like that. So basically the rules are each match is 1 point. We can have the same result. We can have the different result. It's happened a lot before. But, basically the rules are each match has 1 point. We have to have a solid confirmation of who we're picking before the first match begins, or else it's invalid. This happened last year at WrestleMania 36 during, I think, night 1, where I was at work, Clinton was at home watching the pay-per-view, but you had seen spoilers for the match.
Yes, I did.
Before you got to watch it. So your point was invalid. So the whole match didn't count for us.
So there was 2 matches that were invalid. There was the Lacey Evans, Bayley, the whole feud with them, but it was that 5-women match, I believe it was, something like that. And then the Uso ladder match. Now the problem with that was my point was invalid. However, the rumor for the women's 5-woman match, that was fake. It said Lacey Evans was winning, but Bayley actually won. So it completely, screwed me out of a point. However, the Usos winning the ladder match. No, not Usos winning, I'm sorry. Miz and Morrison retaining in that triple threat ladder match. That was a true spoiler. It did spoil that for me. So, yes. So that shouldn't happen again. They're not pre-recording it like they did last year.
Not that we know of.
So, and also, this episode finalizes our prediction. You can't go back on this one. It's recorded in history. So
yeah, it's recorded. And
once we say who does it in this one, it's final. We move on. If we said something wrong, it's too late. It's in the history books.
Yeah, and we will also have it written down somewhere for one of us to keep track of it, so that we know exactly who picked what during the event itself, like we typically do. But we will go ahead into it. Actually, before we do that, I will say this should come out right before WrestleMania, at least the week of WrestleMania. So probably looking at somewhere within Monday through Friday, hopefully. If not day of WrestleMania Night 1, possibly. Or Night 2, who knows. Well, hopefully it will come out before, just so that it's not as late as the latest episode was.
Absolutely.
Like, that was supposed to come out right around Survivor Series, and it came out after Fastlane. So that was bad.
All I'm saying is that it will be out before Mania, and you can applaud me on my quick editing skills. That's a joke. Anyway, but before we go into the predictions, I just want you to know that, as Dalton was telling you a brief history of our pay-per-view championship type deal, this is the first time in a couple years since we have started that it is a vacant championship.
Yeah, it is vacant.
It's the first time ever that it's been vacant.
And the reason is because going into Fastlane, I was the champion. I was the pay-per-view champion.
Absolutely.
But a result during the pay-per-view for Fastlane determined that we have to vacate it, because there was it came down to the line. If Clinton had gotten the result, he would have won the championship. But it was so convoluted the way that the match had went that it was really hard to say. It was Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. And the reason I say it's so convoluted, apparently the match rang. The bell rang. The match started.
The whole conflict is that the match began with the bell ringing, and the match ended with a 3 count. However,
well, no, that's not why the whole thing was brought up. The thing was, they did not establish if it was a no disqualification match.
Well, if you would have let me continue. So it ended with a pinfall. However, they never went down the rules of, is this a no disqualification? Is, all this. And there was a lot of stuff going. I mean, she tried to hit him with a fireball. That should have been a DQ. I don't know.
Multiple things that happened in that match. Yes, it was a cinematic match, but if you're still saying that it was a genuine match, a legal match, even though it was technically, quote-unquote, an intergender match, it should have ended 3 times.
Because the thing was that they were promoting it as a regular intergender match. However, there was never a count for when they were outside of the ring. Well, she tried to murder him on multiple occasions.
The referee left the ring.
Yes.
He left the ring after the fireball, was it?
It was either the fireball or the first fire explosion when Randy tried to rush Alexa Bliss.
Okay, so there's 4 times the match should have ended.
There were 3 fire stunts, and also the lighting rig almost fell on Randy. That was the whole.
So that's fine.
So she tried to legit murder him multiple times.
Okay, so there was
that's more than a warning.
So there was the fire explosion at the beginning, right?
Yes.
When he tried to rush her or something. There was another one apparently.
The fireball.
Well, and the fireball.
She tried to throw him the lighting rig, and also when the Fiend
that's
came
what I was
out,
so
it almost hit him in the face.
4 or 5 instances where the match should have ended as a disqualification. Not to mention the fact that Fiend intervened.
Yes, so
and apparently the ref was out there the entire time.
Should have been a DQ, but they never specified if it would. If they would have said no DQ, that would have been fine. That would have ended it. I would have became the pay-per-view champion. However, we had to figure out a way, and I thought the easiest way to do that was vacate the title for the very first time, and I'm pretty sure it's about 3 years.
And I would have been fine with you winning. It's just the fact that there was not any specified rules. It was built up as a regular match, but even though it was a cinematic match, if you're doing an intergender match, I would assume that the rules still apply.
Yes.
I mean, unless it's a clear no disqualification match or something like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at, even though I don't like talking about it, Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was just a standard match, unless they had like a no DQ match. Like, those types of matches are supposed to be standard. It's still a match. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman if the company allows that. It's supposed to be, an equal match. But you don't define that. And it gets convoluted. And that's one of the main problems that I've had with this match, which led us to this point with a vacant pay-per-view championship.
Yes. We began the pay-per-view championship at SummerSlam 2017. So this is the first time in three and a half years.
Yeah, it'll be 4 years
vacated.
this SummerSlam.
But let's just go ahead and get right into it, Don. First predictions actually being recorded and actually being heard than just our friend group and just us.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and begin.
And these matches are not in order because there's no way to tell, besides maybe the 2 main events. Well, we know of 1 main event for night 2. Night 1 has been rumored to be a certain match, but these are not in order in which they'll happen. If they are, that's actually that's funny.
The only order that this is they're confirmed, and if they are confirmed for night 1 or night 2,
it's separated
that's
night 1,
the only
night 2.
thing that is in order.
And there are 2 matches on here that coincide with each other that have been rumored, so we'll have to see if it happens.
I'm pretty sure it's going to happen because they've been building it up. But better safe than sorry. Go ahead and make the prediction. If not, then it's just 2 matches. You know, who cares? It'll age very not well in the podcast. However, it will be something that could have happened.
Yeah, there will be a follow-up video to this. So it might be a predictions aftermath that we might do so that we can
it will definitely happen.
Say what predictions were wrong, what were right, and where it might head.
And whether WrestleMania 37 was good or bad.
Well, it is the first pay-per-view for WWE that is, in person. People are actually going to be there.
And I'm super excited about that.
I'm happy about it.
I'm really happy and excited.
And for clarification, or just for a little backstage insight for us, this is recorded on April Fool's Day, so it's 10 days away from night 2, 9 days away from night 1. There have already been posts trying to say that WrestleMania has basically been canceled and is moving back to the Thunderdome. And it's not funny.
It's really
not funny. When I first read that, before I realized it, because it didn't say it was posted on April Fool's Day in the States, in the United States. The person that posted it was a resident of the United Kingdom who had posted it and said United Kingdom April Fool's Day on top. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. But besides that, besides all of the possibilities of it being good or bad, the fact that it is the first pay-per-view of wrestling in WWE that is going to be in front of people, and the fact that hopefully, because of that, it's a good pay-per-view. The stage hasn't even been spoiled yet, which is great. It's so crazy.
Well,
it's a different thing.
I don't think they've technically started building it yet.
They
normally do it a week out, so it might start construction this week, leading into next week. Because typically they do it a little bit before WrestleMania week, before that Monday.
Yeah.
So we might be seeing some of the stage designs. I'm really hoping there has to do with something with a pirate ship.
Yes.
That's what I'm hoping, because that's what they were supposed to do last year, the rumor was. And Kevin Owens wanted to jump off the pirate ship, and everyone expected Kairi Sane to be there and jump off a pirate ship or something because of her character.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she's not in a wrestling status with the company, but...
Not in the way of it being good or bad, but I can see this WrestleMania being as crazy when it comes to kind of stipulation type things, because we have a couple stipulation matches, maybe 1 or 2 we'll speak of. However, I can see it being as crazy as WrestleMania 2000 when it comes to certain stipulations and like stunts that they are going to try to pull off.
God, I hope not.
Like not when it comes, because WrestleMania 2000.
Well, I will
wasn't
say
that good.
Well, the difference with this WrestleMania compared to WrestleMania 2000, WrestleMania 2000 was the first WrestleMania that had 0 singles matches.
Yes.
This one has plenty. And speaking of plenty singles matches, let's go ahead and get into it. Whether it's good or bad.
Yes. So the first match we're going to talk about, we're going to go from night 1, and then I will let everyone know when it starts night 2. First one we're going to speak about is Cesaro versus Seth Rollins.
This is a match that should be good. I mean,
I really hope so. They're building up Cesaro.
You have one of the best wrestlers in the world today, and even when he was wrestling back in like the Indies, and then you have Seth Rollins.
Also really good, though. I know you don't have the same opinion as I do.
Well, no, it's not that.
He has a track record of injuring people. However, he is a good wrestler. He was top guy in ROH. He was the second coming of CM Punk.
I was talking about when, how it's got to be his character. I don't know if he actually thinks this, where he talks about him being the best wrestler in the world, working in the best company in the world, this and that. How he trolls people on Twitter. That especially got the attention of Will Ospreay. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know if he means that or not. However, he has certain accolades that say that he's one of the best right now in the company.
My thing is, you
However,
can only be one of the best if you held a certain number of titles. Not like reigns in general, and we'll get back to the match, but like if you, and this should be a topic for another video one day, like talking about what makes someone great. But in my opinion, you have to win like the top or one of the top championships in certain companies. You got to win something from, if you work over there, you got to win something in New Japan. You got to win, a major title in one of the bigger companies in the United States and even maybe Mexico. You don't have to win like the AAA.
Well,
I don't think they'll let like a foreigner win like the major AAA. They probably have before, but it's the same thing with New Japan. It's like you don't really want to see a foreign champion be the top champion. You want to see the top guy being from that country, not necessarily from a WWE perspective or like a United States perspective, but like somewhere like New Japan, you don't want the face of New Japan being an American. You don't want the face of AAA or CMLL being an American or a Canadian.
I mean, I think the only time that's very okay, I guess you could say, is if they are really the top guy.
It depends on the
AJ
wrestler.
Styles was the top guy in New Japan.
That's what I'm
for
saying.
the time
Like,
period he was in.
It depends. Like
And
you have,
and Kenny was definitely as well.
you have Kenny Omega, you have AJ Styles, you have Brock Lesnar. Just three Americans.
I don't consider Brock Lesnar being the top.
Well, I'm
guy
saying
in New
three
Japan.
Americans who are believable as a champion to carry that company. Sorry, Jay White. Sorry.
I'm not
a
sorry.
fan of Jay White.
I'm not sorry at all.
As the champion. He's an effective heel because it makes him not like him.
Very much so. He's a
But-
good heel.
But like somebody like that, if you want to be one of the best, you have to hold a title like that. AJ Styles can be one of the best based off of his accolades alone. He's a two-time WWE champion. One time or maybe two-time New Japan heavyweight champion. I think it might be one.
I think it's two.
I think he's a multi-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Multi-time TNA.
Yeah, multi-time TNA Heavyweight Champion, or it's Impact now, but
Was
TNA
the
World Heavyweight
face
Champion.
of the X Division in TNA.
Yeah,
as well
I mean-
as Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, and
He's
all of
held
them.
nearly all the championships in WWE right now. He's a Triple Crown. Well,
We're actually.
is he a Triple Crown yet?
We're actually going
technically?
to talk about this later in our
Yeah,
predictions.
He's almost a
actually.
Grand Slam champion.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of the best to lace up a pair of boots in the squared circle. Just like, one of the greats is Ric Flair. You look at, he won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. He won the WCW Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, the big old belt, when it was NWA and WCW. He was a WWE champion. Now, he didn't go over and, win the title in New Japan or anything, but he still held some of the top, most prestigious belts in wrestling. That's what makes you one of the greats. In order to say you're one of the best wrestlers in the world, accolades, which comes from backstage stuff sometimes, but also your in-ring ability, your mic ability, your being likable as a face or a heel, stuff like that. Seth Rollins, while he does have the WWE accolades, the only major title that I know of that he's won is the ROH World Heavyweight Championship.
Well,
that's it.
Here's my.
Well, minus like NXT and FCW.
Here's what could be the most. It could be unpopular. It could be a very popular opinion, and that is Seth Rollins. You cannot compare Seth Rollins when it comes to being one of the greatest of all time, quote unquote. You cannot compare him to the Flairs and the Stone Colds, but you can compare him to the Jerry Lynn's. You can compare him to stuff like that.
One of the
to the Taz's of the
like
world,
not underlying, but like the unsung, not necessarily heroes, but like unsung heroes of professional wrestling. Those who've gone under the nose, like under the radar, who are actually one of the greats, but they don't necessarily get as much hype.
Though
Seth Rollins is hyped, and he was hyped in 2015.
I'm not trying to compare modern superstars to modern superstars, but going back to the ROH roots, comparing Seth Rollins and Cesaro as like talent and all that stuff is like comparing Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Seth Rollins is definitely
work together.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like the Adam Cole of this feud is Seth Rollins, and the Kyle O'Reilly is Cesaro. The underdog is Cesaro because he just hasn't been given as much You get what I'm saying? Because we actually
he's
have a
the
Kyle
underdog.
O'Reilly, Adam Cole feud right now.
Cesaro is technically the underdog because he hasn't been given the opportunity that
But
Seth Rollins
he's very
has.
capable of doing
Yeah,
so.
he's one of the. That's why I say he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I mean, he's traveled the globe wrestling. He's been in WWE, God, for like almost 10 years, if not right at 10 years now, or a little bit over. Like at least 2011, 2012, because he held the United States title when he first got there in WWE on the main roster. But like he's never had a big WrestleMania match.
I think if they...
Let
ahead.
me take that back.
Go ahead.
He has had one notable big WrestleMania match, and that's when him and Tyson Kidd at WrestleMania 31. Was it retained or was it win the tag team titles?
They retained.
Okay. That's really his only big WrestleMania accolade, besides being at WrestleMania 30 on
That
the
was
pre-show.
probably the... Well, it wasn't even the pre-show.
It wasn't even a pre-show?
WrestleMania 30, that was on the card. He was in the
The
middle
Andre
of
the Giant Memorial
He was
Battle
in
Royal
the
was on the
middle
card.
of the card, yes.
Really?
Uh-huh. And it was it was such a big deal.
No, it was a tag team match that was on a pre-show that turned him face, quote unquote, because it made like him turning on Jack Swagger made him pretty much win the battle royal because he went
because
right
he
on.
was, he was Zev Coulter and Jack Swagger, and then after that, I think he became a Paul Heyman guy after that, didn't he?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, it was a very short-lived Paul Heyman guy.
because he got tagged with Tyson Kidd right after.
Yes, and it ended up being a better thing. He became they were like they weren't supposed to be the big tag team, but they were the big tag team during 2014, 2015.
I want to get back to saying who we think's going to win, but like poor Cesaro, each time he's giving a singles push, they like don't figure out anything to do with it and then stick him with a tag team partner. He's a United States champion, sticks him with Jack Swagger. He's a singles competitor, a Paul Heyman guy, sticks him with Tyson Kidd. He's going.
That was okay.
I know, but it's like he's going, he's moving up. He's a singles competitor going for the Intercontinental title, paired with Sheamus.
But was even more successful than the Tyson Kidd run.
I mean, gets taken away from Sheamus during the draft and Sheamus's injury. Swiss Cyborg, Swiss Superman. He's promoted. He's a singles competitor. Gets put with Nakamura. And that's where he's been. Like, slightly been out of, and Sami Zayn, but with Nakamura winning the titles and stuff. He's just been, like, he's not given the proper opportunity to wrestle. He's only had one singles title. Yeah. That's it. It's like Sami Zayn. He's only had one singles title. That was his only title on the main roster, was the Intercontinental title. And Cesaro was the United States title, and that was almost 10 years ago. That he's had that. He's had so many tag team titles. He never won anything at NXT, even when he went back against Sami Zayn. Hasn't had anything but that title. I'm saying it right now before we get into the predictions. He will at least be in the world title picture by the end of either this year or next year. Has to be.
I'll quote you on that one.
I mean, he has to be. As much as he's been hyped up, he's getting a main roster match with Seth Rollins, and, whatever the result may be, I know what I think the result will be, but still.
The fact that he is getting a
singles match
at WrestleMania against someone who is shown as one of the best guys
who main evented
WrestleMania right now.
And who had a quote-unquote main event match, but it was the first match on the card. Still.
However, the fact that Cesaro is getting a WrestleMania singles match against a top guy, and Nakamura doesn't have a match on the card,
that's what
says that they are going somewhere with Cesaro. Now, I'm not saying Nakamura doesn't deserve. He deserves it. Obviously, he deserved to win.
He deserves
the
another
WWE
title run.
He deserved to actually have a good feud with AJ Styles back in 2018. Sorry.
Yeah. 2018.
However, the fact that Nakamura does not have a match on WrestleMania, but Cesaro does, shows that they are going somewhere.
Was he even in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that's going on SmackDown?
I do not know. I have no idea.
I don't even think I said his name when we were talking about it before we started.
I have no idea.
Sad.
However, moving on to just the match itself and the predictions, I just want to say that I think if they allow it, Cesaro and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania is going to be one of the best matches on the card.
It's going to be at least 15 minutes.
It's going to be a 15-20 minute WWE, possibly ROH styled match. There's going to be hard hits. There's going to be springboards. I mean, it's literally they're going to have swings. A lot of stuff. There's going to be plenty of swings. They're going to try to do what they can with 15-20 minutes possibly that they're going to get.
I'll say I do think it's going to be at least 15. It's going to be in the time frame between 10 and 15 or 10 and 20 minutes. The same with another match that is on the card that we'll get to. I think it's on night 2 as well, so that's good. So you get, ROH style matches on both nights, but Cesaro
I'm
all
taking
the way.
Cesaro.
They're pushing him. There is a way that they can have Seth Rollins win.
There are many matches on this card, and I will go on every single one and tell you. I can see and envision, because I know how WWE does stuff.
I can see multiple.
I can see it going both ways. However,
or in some cases, 3 ways.
Seth Rollins is already built to where he could be. Cesaro's not there yet. They need to give Cesaro that push, just like they did Kevin Owens last year. It went to nowhere. However, because of certain things, and he
because
took
of the pandemic,
he took a break and all that stuff.
Because of the pandemic,
yes.
That's why.
However,
and injury. He did get injured.
They gave Kevin Owens the match win. They actually gave him 2 because it's ended in a DQ. Remember?
That's how I won.
That's how I won last year. 36. They gave Kevin Owens the win, and Kevin Owens is a very high caliber wrestler. We're even gonna talk about him later on probably night 2. I think
it is night 2.
However, if you're gonna give Kevin Owens, give Cesaro that win.
Well,
Seth at this point in his career can continue to win championships and all that stuff, but he is at the caliber right now that he can start giving people some wins.
Like the Fiend.
Exactly.
Even though
that went nowhere, but
it was going somewhere. But Goldberg had to get involved. No, but like I said, it has to be
Cesaro.
It has to be Cesaro. They can make it Seth, give that heel win, and they can continue this feud. They're going to continue this feud regardless. This isn't over, but it's got to be Cesaro, and I'm put that down. Both of us, we both think Cesaro.
Absolutely.
I don't think it'll be the show opener though.
No, it's night 1. That's the first thing that I thought about, because I am excited about this match. I really am.
When we get to the match that I think that I've heard, people say, this might be night 1, the first match for night 1. I'll say it, but let's go ahead and continue to the next one. So Cesaro for both.
Yes,
Cesaro goes over
both.
Seth Rollins, and it's
absolutely
regular singles match. They haven't put a stipulation. We're not doing that crap. Next match.
The next match is already a confirmed stipulation match. It will be a steel cage between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. This can be a spot fest of fun if Shane decides to do what he wants to do.
There's really only one spot that I can see, and that's just Shane. Well, no, 2 spots. I'm sorry. Actually, maybe 3. Shane will definitely do a coast to coast on Braun,
but
whether he lands it or not.
But that's what I'm saying. Could he do a coast to coast off the steel cage?
No,
it
absolutely
could happen.
not.
He
will jump off the cage, and Braun will catch him. Probably.
I could see it. Well,
or rolls into like a power. That's the finish. That might be the finish. Shane drops on him from the top of the cage for a crossbody. Braun rolls out of it, and he does a running power slam.
That could happen.
That would be the best finish. And if that actually happens, that'll be the second time that I've almost predicted a finish to a match. The first time was Jericho and AJ Styles.
Yes.
We simulated the match in WWE 2K, I think it was 15. It might have, no, 16.
16.
It was 2K16.
I don't know how a video game could get the end correct.
The finish of the match was AJ Styles was going for the phenomenal forearm, so he's springboarding off the top rope, and Jericho caught him with the code breaker. The game, it was a custom character. It wasn't actually AJ Styles, modeled and stuff. It was a custom character from Community Creations. But he was doing a springboard, and Jericho caught him. It was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen that had, went from game to reality. They've, in WWE games, they've done that before, through storytelling or something. It either happened the year before or it was happened that year or the year after. But, they predict that kind of stuff. But for that, just a simulation predicting that's awesome.
Absolutely. But I can't, but my thing is that I don't see them recreating a finish that's already happened, which is Braun throwing KO off the cage into the announce tables.
Well, I was going to say, I don't see them doing either Brock and Roman, Bobby Lashley and Mark Henry and Big Show going through the cage. I don't see them doing that.
But I also feel...
Was that Mark Henry? That was Mark Henry and Bobby Lashley, right? It wasn't Umaga. It was never Umaga.
Oh, in ECW?
Yeah, that was Mark Henry.
No. It was Mark Henry was not involved, I don't believe.
He wasn't? I thought he was.
What
He might
happened
have been
was,
on SmackDown still.
So, just kind of getting off on a side tangent here.
It wasn't Umaga.
That was building a feud between Lashley and Umaga. Umaga was not involved in the match. However, Lashley jumped out through the cage and
was
hit
that for
Umaga.
WrestleMania? Was
I
it had to
do
be.
not
It had to
know.
be building towards WrestleMania.
I don't even know who he. To be honest, this is a wild just thought. I don't know.
Accusation.
Honestly, I think that match was against Bob Holly. I
Or
know
Finlay.
Or Finley or something like
Could've
that. It
been
was
Finlay.
someone who wasn't.
No, Finley was on
in,
SmackDown
you
at
wouldn't
that point.
expect to be in the steel cage with Bobby Lashley, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I wish I could. I don't know 2007 ECW.
Yeah.
I don't really.
I don't really care for 2007 ECW.
WWE in 2007 is a. I have to go back on the network and rewatch.
That's a
things.
blank
It's a
year
blank
for him.
year for it is.
That's not even a joke. Trying to talk to him at home, saying like, "Hey, you remember this from 07?" No. When did that happen? I thought did that happen?
I could spitball 2008, 9, so on, and I can even go back to the Attitude Era and the early Ruthless Aggression Era. But I can't talk about 2007. I just
So
can't.
sad.
I don't know why.
God, I wish you weren't so awkward, bud.
I know, but I really can't talk about 2007.
Embarrassing.
Going back to what I was saying, I got Braun Strowman on this. I don't think Shane will win. Usually he is the kind of person who just does spots and loses. The only time he's won at WrestleMania in the last couple of years was
Miz.
But that was a cool spot that ended in a funny way. I think
Well, the feud continued after that, I think,
Yes.
for one more pay-per-view. This has to be a feud just for Mania. I can see it going both ways, but I have to say Braun. I don't think they're going to have him come off of winning the Universal title night 1 of WrestleMania last year to putting over the boss's son the next year. The only way I can see winning is if Jackson Riker and Elias get involved. But then,
I think they'll just get thrown off the cage.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's one of the spots I think of. I think one of them are going to get like thrown across the ring through the cage or something like that. It won't be Shane, but Shane could do no, he won't. He won't attempt it. I was going to say a shooting star press off the cage, but God, I hope he doesn't do that. He might do an elbow, but I got to say Braun. There's absolutely no way they're going to have him lose. Has he lost a WrestleMania match yet? He won with Nicholas at 34. I don't know I can't remember what he was at 35. Was it? That wasn't Andre the Giant.
Yes, it was.
It was? At 35?
He's not lost a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, because 34.
Well, actually,
34 was Nicholas.
Okay, so he was a part of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
He didn't lose a singles.
He's never
match.
lost a plain match. No, he's been eliminated from a Battle Royal, but he's never been.
He's never lost a singles match or
No.
like a match that counts. That doesn't count. That has not. They carry the statue for a couple days, couple weeks. That's it.
They move on.
No,
but no, singles matches. Yeah, he's undefeated.
Yeah, so I don't see him.
So
losing.
both Braun.
Yeah, Braun's got to win. We will deviate.
Absolutely.
Braun's gotta win.
Probably more on night 2. Actually,
Maybe.
I think.
The main event on night 2, definitely, probably. I feel like we'll have two different opinions. Maybe.
Who knows? So third match that we're discussing is New Day versus AJ and
Omos.
Not much build up on this match.
The last couple. Well, no, when the
couple...
New Day won it is when they built it up.
Yes, but that was unexpected.
Yeah, they had the Hurt Business lose, and then now the Hurt Business is no more, which makes me sad. Well, hold on. Let me say this before we continue, because Hurt Business has something to do with this too. Do you think that the Hurt Business, even though they're broke up now, do you think they could continue?
No.
Hold on. We know the expected result for the WWE Championship match, and I'm not going to say it. But what if, say, they try to give Bobby to win and get involved? You know what I mean? Or maybe if he loses, tries to help him get it back. You know what I mean? Kind of like a redemption, trying to get back into the band kind of thing.
I understand.
It could happen.
Well, the thing is I understand exactly what you're saying. However, in order to continue, whoever wins that match, which we will discuss, I think it's on night one, so we'll be
on that one.
discussing it in just a second.
But
Whichever way that match goes, the best way to build up Bobby as a main guy is to continue with just MVP or not even MVP.
No, he needs MVP.
I think he does.
He needs a mouthpiece. He does too. Just like with Leo Rush.
I think he does as
Bobby is not. I'm sorry to say this, but Bobby Lashley's not that best. Not that good on the mic.
He's not bad. He is.
Look at his stuff when they were breaking up the Hurt Business. The way he was talking. Even when, like, I think it was the week before that when he was in the locker room trying to say, hey, anyone who takes out Drew McIntyre gets a shot at the title. This and that. It's just, he needs MVP. Definitely for a mouthpiece.
Bobby
or
Lashley,
somebody else.
Bobby Lashley and MVP goes back kind of the same success because they did it in TNA as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, they go back to TNA.
As Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, as well as Andre the Giant and Bobby the Brain Heenan. You just have good pairings that just work together, one being a manager, one being a competitor.
And the fact that they have the history together in the Beatdown Clan back in Impact Wrestling, that's enough.
See, originally the Hurt Business just seemed like a rip-off Beatdown Clan, but they've made it its
better.
Own original
or
thing,
was better.
made it better.
It was better. It's not anything.
Well, the thing is you had people who actually seemed like they could work together. I mean, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, MVP. 3 of them being in the same era of wrestling for the most part. I think the oldest veteran in there when it comes to wrestling was Shelton Benjamin. And then you had
the oldest
MVP,
person in general is MVP, but the person who's been in wrestling
Lashley,
the longest.
And then you had someone new, which was Cedric. So,
relatively new
compared to them. They were they were at the end of their careers in WWE at first, their first run, when Cedric became a trainee at the George South School.
Yeah, when he was becoming a name.
So I mean, he's the new breed of what they were trying to build up. So it made sense rather than just having a bunch of people such as Bobby Lashley, Kenny King, MVP, Samoa Joe, Loki, Eric Young.
Yeah, don't bring up Eric Young.
I mean, Beatdown Clan just didn't make any sense. I mean...
Well, not after the first 4.
No. I think if we would have just stuck with Beatdown Clan, Loki, MVP, Lashley, Kenny King, it would have been fine. Take out Loki, it's even better. However, because that's what happened, is they kind of stuck with just the trio for a bit.
Yeah, it should have been the
trio. They stuck with the trio, but then, Loki, he could fit with them more than Samoa Joe or Eric Young.
Samoa Joe fits just because he was violent. And that's what the Beatdown Clan was. They were just, Loki as well, they're just violent.
But Joe is he's a loner. He was... They put him in tag teams.
He's a loner, but he was in so many tag teams and so many factions over the years.
But literally him being in those factions were like the only thing that was somewhat successful was Main Event Mafia version 2, and even that was kind of out of nowhere.
Still,
I mean, but
was there 3 versions of the Main Event Mafia? Sorry, I'm yawning when I'm saying that. That's unprofessional. I apologize.
There was only 2.
Was there? I feel like Samoa Joe was in the first one.
I don't think he was.
I think he was.
I don't know.
I don't care.
I
don't know and I don't care.
But we have more to discuss on Bobby Lashley, but let's go back to the match we were discussing.
It's got to be AJ and Omos.
Yeah, I agree. I think AJ is going to win the match and beat the New Day.
Make him a Grand Slam champion. So that'll be good for him because he is getting older. He is winding down a little bit, so his career in WWE and overall won't be lasting as long. So, I mean, giving him a Grand Slam championship would be beneficial for him to complete his career because I honestly don't know how many more titles he's going to win. I would like a WWE title win just because he deserves more. Drew McIntyre is probably going to have more than him, and that's saying something, So I feel like he should have the WWE title again. And he's on Raw. There's always the Money in the Bank, but there's no way. Even with the New Day being stupid and doing like the games and stuff, trying to prove that they don't know each other how as well as they do, or as well as they think they do. I don't think that. There's no way AJ's not winning this. he hasn't lost the WrestleMania except for last year, but that's not technically a
Well,
match.
he lost his first one.
Oh yeah, he has. Well, he hasn't lost since because it's always been big matches.
Right.
Know. Jericho was just, it was his first feud, but Undertaker wasn't a traditional match, so he really hasn't lost since then, and he's only been in big matches. So
Right. All right, so we also have the same one on that one, but let's move on to the next match that I hope we don't talk about too long. Bad Bunny versus The Miz. I'm going Bad Bunny. I don't want to.
They're not gonna make him lose.
Who, Bad Bunny?
Yeah, it's a Latino artist. The apparently the biggest Latino artist. Is that what he won at the end?
I believe
biggest
so.
Latino
Yes,
artist
and
of 2021, something like that.
Yeah, and he does. I mean, he does have a following, So
they're not gonna make him lose to Miz.
Well, I mean, they didn't have him pinned by our troop to make him look better.
I know, but like, it's not gonna be a good match. It's going to be a horrible match, and it's probably going to be higher than some of the matches on the card that are going to be good, which sucks. I mean, there's nothing you can say. It was supposed to be a tag team match with John Morrison and Damian Priest. That sucks for Damian Priest. He's not going to get a WrestleMania moment. He's probably not even going to get a good entrance. It's probably just going to be Bad Bunny. That's what I hate. Damian Priest deserves way better than that to be put on the roster at this point. Just to be... Even if he's having... He might be having a good time. You never know. Even if that, it's not... It kind of degrades his character. He should stay a heel. He shouldn't be a face, especially with Bad Bunny. It'd be funny if Bad Bunny got booed out the building because of this god-awful storyline. I would not be surprised if people started cheering for Miz because he had just lost the WWE title, which he didn't deserve to lose that soon.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately, I think we both say Bad Bunny on that.
Yeah,
one.
I don't want
to.
It's not the fact that it's a bad story. I don't really
it is
like.
A bad story.
Well, yeah, but we all have our opinions. I mean, I think it's a bad storyline too. I don't really. I want to kind of get back on a more positive note. So yeah,
well, it's that type of match.
Yeah. But next match is moving on. We both said Bad Bunny. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship.
This is the match that I think they're going to put on first.
Really?
This will be the first match because they're going to give Drew McIntyre a big entrance.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying that mostly because I agree with what they were saying on Cultaholic because they were kind of coming up with that. It's like that's probably going to be the first match. First match back in front of a crowd, giving Drew McIntyre his moment. That he didn't get to have last year. Not putting them in the main event, but also giving them a big, the first match in front of the live audience. You're the first people in WWE to wrestle in front of a large audience.
Right.
You're going to be... I don't know if it technically is anymore. They were originally going to be the first sporting event or event in general to have a large crowd like that. They did have to tone it down by half.
Mm.
So it might still be the largest crowd, but who knows at this point.
Yeah. There's a lot going into this match. I think they've really, in the last couple weeks, they've tried to build it up. I think it's weird that the whole Bobby Lashley Miz stuff happened as quick as it did. Not saying I would prefer Miz versus Drew McIntyre, even though it would be a fine match. But I just thought it was weird that we were kind of setting up McIntyre just going against probably Edge because at that point he had not said Roman yet. And he was already technically a Raw superstar, so we just kind of assumed Drew McIntyre and Edge. And then he lost it to Miz. And then it's like, okay, so then it's going to be Miz versus Drew McIntyre for some odd reason. And then 2 weeks later, Miz loses it. Or it was like a week or so later, Miz loses the belt.
It was 2 weeks after he won it.
Yeah, that's what I meant by that.
No, actually, it was a week after he won it.
Yeah.
It was over 2 Raws. That's why I thought 2 weeks.
So then it was okay. Lashley won the belt, and it was like okay, Lashley and Drew McIntyre. But then Drew McIntyre was really only doing things with Sheamus, and then it was like okay, what's going on now?
There's not been a proper build up.
They're building it up now, but they should have built it up a little bit longer. They should have had a stipulation with Sheamus and Drew that maybe Sheamus would be instead. I know they already had the stipulation with someone else, but. What was the need for that Fastlane match?
It should have been Drew and Sheamus for the WWE title. They should have had Miz hold off on the Money in the Bank. They shouldn't have had him cash in just to lose it a week later. They should have had Sheamus be the one to screw Drew out of the championship, get him pinned or taken out of the Elimination Chamber, win the championship himself, and set up Sheamus and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. That's what I think should have happened. I mean, Bobby is good, but you had Drew miss the Monday following him losing the title at Elimination Chamber. He was gone. He didn't come back until like the next one, and he had no interest in the WWE title. It was just Sheamus. It wasn't until after he beat Sheamus that next night on Raw after Fastlane that he set his sights on Bobby Lashley, or right around that time too. It made absolutely no sense. You would think that someone who just lost would want to focus more on the championship and not just the person that's like, oh, hey, he used to be my friend. Let me fight him real quick. And then I'll focus on you. It should have, like you were saying, it should have been a stipulation where they focused on it. There should have been something that Sheamus was in his way and he needed to get past Sheamus.
Yeah, I mean,
other than that, it's just
my big
poor
thing
build-up.
is, why do we have I don't remember what kind of match it was, but it was it no DQ, something like that, no holds barred, whatever the crap it was.
Yeah, something like that. It should have been it was rumored to be a last man standing match. But
my whole thing is, what's the point of a stipulation match if it's meant for nothing except finish up the storyline real quick so we can have Bobby versus Drew? And I'm not.
You get Sheamus put in the freaking
feud with Matt Riddle. We have the Riddle feud. I just wish there was more build up to it. But besides that,
this Mania has been so messy with that. They have not had any proper build-up for any match, really.
Yeah,
because everything's been moved around.
There's been a couple of little things that's had some build-up.
The only thing that's really had true build-up is Edge and Roman. And even then, it got switched.
Yeah, and I think everyone already knew because she was already on the SmackDown roster that Bianca Belair was going to go against Sasha Banks. But it wasn't really build-up. It was more of just taking
none of it was
taking a guess, So
and I'll get to the build up for that match in a minute, but this is the weirdest Mania for build ups because they didn't start until a couple weeks out, or a month out, when you're supposed to build up following Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
not right before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but besides that, put all the build-up crap behind and all that stuff. I think it'll be a decent match. I don't know about you. They both are good workers. They did well together in TNA and.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think it'll be a decent match. But it'll be better than the two championship matches we had last year at Mania.
Yeah, but Drew is a good worker, but Bobby can sometimes not. He's better now, but he can. I don't want to say lack, but especially with his spear, I'm not a fan of his spear. So when it's something like that, I feel like it's not going to work as well.
I think he'll.
They've had matches before,
he'll do fine,
but it's definitely not going to be match of the night.
Besides the spear, like I said, I also don't think he has as good as a spear as like Edge or something like that. However, I do think he is a good worker. He tries to make himself look big and strong. Well, he is big and strong. He's supposed to look like that.
They're kind of making him look weak because he's acting scared.
Well, yes, but
he's underlying. They're making him seem like he's not scared, but he's scared because he's putting out the hit on him.
Right.
And then the thing with Baron Corbin, I don't know how that's going to play. That's weird.
Yeah. But besides that, you got a good worker in Bobby. You got a good worker in Drew. I'm taking Drew on this one only because I think they're finally going to let him have his big moment to be in front of people and actually win the belt.
The only reasonable person to go with this is Drew, only because why would you have him lose it 2 months before the pay-per-view and then not win it back like he was supposed to?
Now, I'm not saying that Bobby won't go and win it back after Mania. He probably
but Bobby
will.
Won't retain it.
He won't.
There's no way he can retain it.
He won't retain, but I can see in the next pay-per-view or two or something like that, he might actually win it back.
He won't beat Drew for it.
Somebody
will beat Drew, and he will
probably be a champion again.
mean, you would hope, but or he'll lose it, or Drew will lose it in like a triple threat or a fatal 4-way, but he won't take the pin.
Right.
There's no way he'll take the pin.
But besides that, we got one of the main titles already out of the way. Got both Drew. No differences so far, but I think more night 2 is our differences, I think, coming up. Though it's not a rumored match, or it is a rumored match, but it is not a confirmed match yet. Let's go ahead and talk about the possible women's tag team championship match, or the women's number 1 contender match.
There's nothing too special about it, so I'm not going to dwell on it long. It's rumored to happen. They haven't set anything up for it. What do you expect at this point? They don't care about the women's tag team division.
My thing is that I wish there was actually some build up to it. They are, they have a couple things. Like they've had a couple of tag team matches on Raw and stuff like that.
But there's no hint.
More. But the thing is I wish there was more build up for it. And I wish it's not rumored. I wish it was already confirmed. And it had been confirmed for 2 or so weeks.
They don't care about it. They don't care about the women's tag division.
Yeah, and it sucks.
Ever since it was created, they didn't care. They gave it to Sasha and Bayley. Didn't do hardly anything with them, and every other champion that's been holding the title hasn't done anything.
I mean, yeah, they really kind of made that title an
It's an afterthought. It sucks.
However, it shouldn't be, because the thing was, it seemed like they actually were doing something when it was Nikki and Alexa, but then they just kind of...
Even then, they weren't doing hardly anything.
Yeah, they really weren't doing anything with them either, and it's a shame. But maybe if whatever happens at Mania, maybe something will change. It probably won't, sadly.
I don't know if it's necessarily a shame or if it was expected, because they don't really care about the women's division anyway. They claim to with the women's evolution, but if you honestly think about it, they only use 5-6 people. Every other woman... That was a reason to try to get them TV time, was to put the women's tag team titles on her. The only women's tag team title that will actually be good, that I can see them actually using, is the NXT women's tag team titles. They should have sent the women's tag team championships down to NXT for a little bit and not have it on Raw or SmackDown to build credibility instead of making a whole new one. There's absolutely no reason to make a whole new one when you create it, it'll be defended on all 3 brands, and only 1 or 2 times has there actually been a defense on there.
And I agree.
Well, maybe 3, because Sasha did kind of... Well, not a match for the title, but having a presence. Because Sasha did go against, I think, Io Shirai at, I think it was NXT Great American Bash. Or was it it was Great American Bash or In Your House? I think it was Great American Bash. But, even then, the titles were on the line. The champions were there, because Bayley was there, but they weren't on the line.
Yeah. But with that aside, I think that we hope for one day these belts to be somewhat important. I wish they were now. I was super excited when they announced them 2019. All the champions so far have been decently exciting. I mean, Nia and Shayna are better as singles competitors.
Sasha and Bayley's first run wasn't there. It was not exciting.
Well, the second one was even less exciting.
Yes, but at least with them both being heel, it was alright.
I think Sasha and Bayley at first were fine. The Iconics had a lot of potential, but it was missed. Bliss and Cross had a pretty good thing going on. Asuka and Kairi should have never even been in the tag divisions. They should have kind of just
don't even say that. Don't even say that. They should have had an earlier title run, in my opinion, when the crowds were there, because they could have gotten over as a heel team.
Well, they could have gotten over with the fans, but as a heel. But they're so good as singles competitors, and then
they were fine. They were fine until they started getting convoluted with Asuka winning the women's championship through the Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
like just being awarded the championship. That's what kind of ruined it for me.
Right.
And then Sasha and Bayley getting involved, winning not only the tag titles from them and stuff, and just back and forth, but also them just playing hot potato with the Raw Women's Championship. That was stupid. And the way they had to get rid of Kairi Sane. Yeah. That was stupid.
Yeah. But just like all the Bobby Lashley and Drew stuff with the build-up, besides that, there isn't, like I said, there's no build-up.
No confirmation either.
And there's no confirmation. However, if it does happen, Dalton, who's your pick to go to Night 2 to face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for this women's title?
Well, apparently it's supposed to be a multi-women's match. So it's a multi-women... It might be a fatal 4-way or triple threat tag team match. The only people that I can see... being a good option. Hear me out. I know who you're about to pick, but the only people that are a good option is the Riot Squad. They are the only logical people to go with. I don't care what's been happening on Raw or SmackDown. They are the people that they're the tag team that deserve it most out of any other tag team on there. And they've been having feuds like on and off in the women's tag division for a while. And I think some with Shayna and Nia as well.
Right.
So I don't think that any other team deserves to be in that title match. If it happens, even if it's a pre-show thing, they deserve to be the ones that, I'm going to say it, be put over by Nia and Shayna. They should win it. They should be the underdogs.
Well, I think it should be. I think it should be the kickoff show, not because it is not important, and not because or anything like that. Well, there's two things.
Well, it might be too crowded on the main card.
That's one
for
thing.
For what they're aiming for.
And also, without the build-up, I think that if it was a tag team title match on the second night, it actually will make it a little bit better. They actually get their opportunity to be at WrestleMania, but they're also not taking space up on the regular card for things that have been somewhat built up. And also, there's already a big women's championship match on night one anyway. So, and it's just a qualifying match. It's just like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. What's the need for it to be on the main card if all it is kind of just making someone win? And it's kind of a warmer up for everything else that's going. But with that,
Ooh.
What was that?
I just realized something.
What's up?
If they have a pre-show match, that means whoever's on the pre-show are the first people to wrestle in front of a crowd for WWE, and they're not going to do that. They won't do a pre-show. I guarantee it. Not a match, at least. They might do a pre-show thing, but they won't do a pre-show match. They'll put that second match on the card, third match on the card, if anything.
And that's if it's on main card. Hey, good for them.
It won't be long.
Congrats.
I can guarantee you that it won't be 20 minutes.
Like I said, if it's on the main card, good for them. I don't think that because it's a women's tag team match, it should be on the pre-show. I'm just saying it's not even confirmed yet, so I just don't see it being on the main card. And like I said, there's already a big women's championship match already on night one. However, but going back to some of the build-up that's going on with this, which is really none, but the 4 teams that are rumored to be in this match, they're building up Lana and Naomi. However, since the Riot Squad got back together, I have said that I've wanted them to win at Mania for the tag titles. So I'm going Riot Squad as well, not because of logical reasons, but because my heart wants it so bad to see Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott win the tag titles. I wish Sarah Logan was there so that it could be Freebird rule. However, things happen, and now we just have 2 of them. But I'm going Riot Squad as well. But we come to what is being rumored to be the main event of night 1, which is Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title.
It shouldn't be the main event, and I'll say this because Bianca Belair's not ready. She's not ready for the main event. She's not ready for a championship yet. And I will defend that for a while because she is a good worker from what I've seen, but especially showing this stuff ever since winning the Royal Rumble, ever since they put her number 3 in the Rumble, you knew she was, unfortunately, and I hate to say unfortunately, you knew she was gonna win when you had your picks already, and you knew she was gonna win after they started eliminating Bayley and just staying in there to the very end. She's just not ready. I don't think that she deserves the championship right now because she's gonna win. She's going to win and be put over by Sasha Banks. And Sasha Banks is just going to constantly lose a WrestleMania and constantly lose championship matches. And this will be technically her second feud with the title, which also is, well, besides her winning it from Bayley. But it's just, she doesn't deserve it right now. And that's just because, like I said, she's not ready. She didn't win a single NXT championship when she first started in NXT. Did she get that many opportunities for a championship?
Truthfully, I do not know.
Maybe like 1 or 2, but even then, being on the main roster, what has she done to prove that she deserves to be in the main event already?
Well, I mean, all I'm going to say is that at that point in time, well, first off, since we're talking about predictions, I had Bailey as the prediction for Royal Rumble, and I thought that maybe she would. I just felt like they were going to continue the Sasha Bailey feud. But then
That
she
would have
got
been more
eliminated like
enjoyable.
halfway. Number 15, she was gone already.
Sasha and Bailey would have been more enjoyable with the build-up because they
Um,
actually had history.
However, Bianca Belair won. And though I thought, once we got to the final two with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair at the final two of the Royal Rumble, I really didn't care who won at that point because they both, were NXT.
I cared just
talent.
because there was one that was the obvious choice. And it was Rhea Ripley because she got screwed over the year before, and this was her redemption.
Because the thing is no matter who won that match, Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair, they're both in title matches at WrestleMania this year, so it would have went either way.
I wouldn't say that, but I don't know if it would have went either way.
I think she
Had
Ripley
certain
was
things
always
not
gonna go for the Raw.
Had certain things not happened, I don't think Rhea Ripley would be in the Raw Women's Championship match.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. But I think they would have found some way to put her on the card because she had. They gave her this match at WrestleMania last year with Charlotte, and I don't think they would have just taken that away from him and like, you're not gonna actually wrestle in front of a huge crowd at WrestleMania next year. I think they always were going to probably give her something.
I don't think so because I feel like as soon as they announced her for Raw, they didn't put her on there. They were gonna wait until the Raw after WrestleMania to put her in a championship feud after because they were probably gonna give it to Charlotte so that she can take it away from Charlotte. That's what I think would have happened.
Absolutely.
They wait and waste talent until the Raw after WrestleMania, and they would have done exactly that for this WrestleMania. They would have waited to put Rhea Ripley on there to come out and immediately challenge Charlotte had she won, because she probably would have won the championship at WrestleMania. Either going against Lacey Evans like the rumored plan was, or going against Asuka like they were going to. She would have went over, and Rhea Ripley would have came out afterwards. It sucks to say that because Asuka deserves more, but had she won the Royal Rumble, she would have been going for the Raw Women's Championship, yes, but she would have probably lost. I don't know if they would have made her win had she won the Royal Rumble and been going against somebody like Charlotte. That's just me though. But like, when it comes to this match, I'm saying Bianca because there's absolutely no way they're making Sasha win this match. There's no way in hell because they are trying to build up Bianca as the new talent and the new face of the SmackDown Women's division. Like I said, I don't think that that she's that ready for it. I honestly don't want it to happen, but I feel like her championship reign is going to come to an end shortly, maybe 2 or 3 months after she wins it.
Right.
And it's just not going to be okay. It's not going to be good. You're going to get a lot of backlash from it. And you're already putting yourself in such a position saying that they are going to main event WrestleMania and then putting it on night one, saying it's the main event, and then if it under-delivers. Because the fact of the matter is, it might. That's why, 35 at WrestleMania 35, the Triple Threat Women's Championship match. Some people probably thought it under-delivered, just because it was a triple threat. Triple threats are messy. There's only a handful of good triple threat matches in WrestleMania and in wrestling in general. There's only a handful.
Well,
and it gets so messy because you have 3 people trying to fight each other, and you have to time everything right. A Fatal 4-Way would have been better, in my opinion. You should have everyone faces one person at a time. Or if, they're good with each other, they can double team on somebody else. But it's just not good.
I'm gonna say one thing about WrestleMania 35, like you were, and then I'm gonna go back and just say like 1 or 2 things about the SmackDown Women's Championship match at 37. With 35, I mean, yes, triple threats get messy and all that stuff. However, I will say this, and the only thing I have to say somewhat negative about it is that they brought weapons in. I think it was a chair, candlestick, table, all that stuff. Not that I think that that match just didn't need weapons.
I don't think that match needed 3 people.
They just didn't need that many. They didn't need things to do. If it was just a plain triple threat match and that's all they focused on, it would have been a really great match. But with WrestleMania 37, the only thing that I have to say somewhat negative about is that I thought that Sasha's heel turn was out of nowhere.
Is she even heel, technically?
I think she is, yeah. But she's either heel or she's like the Neville to Sami Zayn back at TakeOver.
Well, my problem is calling her a heel when at Fastlane when she slapped her, you can't necessarily call her heel because she's saying that she's the veteran technically in this situation. She is. Bianca Belair hadn't been there for that long, especially on the main roster. This is her first main roster run. She didn't come up but a couple months ago. You're having her, like, in Sasha's eyes, in the storyline, she's trying to put herself over. She's getting involved in a match when she shouldn't, especially when it's a tag team championship match. You're having her getting in the way, trying to come in and stop this and that, but then ruining it because wrong place, wrong time. When you try to call her a heel, it would have been more appropriate to say that, and they wouldn't have done it because they want her to go in as the babyface Royal Rumble winner, but it would have been more appropriate to have Bianca be the one that's heel. If she had not been in the gimmick that she's in now, trying to say that she's the best, but like be the face and say that she's the best, and trying to get all these young people behind her and stuff.
Of WWE.
Yeah, like trying to get the young people behind her and stuff. Had she just been the heel saying that she was the best, it would have made more sense. In this case, having Sasha be the face the entire time and then have her turn heel randomly is just, it's not good booking. A lot of night one has not had a lot of good booking. This main event doesn't have a lot of good booking. And I hate saying it because I don't like to talk down about like women's wrestling because it shouldn't be talked down on unless, just like men's wrestling, unless you can't wrestle. And it's a lot of men's wrestling, so don't get me wrong. I don't want to talk down about it, but I feel like it's going to be not Bad Bunny levels of bad. Like, it's not going to be anywhere near that because at least they can wrestle. But I feel like it's, unless they do like really good in-ring wrestling.
Did you just say that Bad Bunny can wrestle?
No, I said at least they can wrestle. Bad Bunny can't wrestle.
Okay, I thought you.
No.
I thought you said.
No, at least Sasha and Bianca can wrestle.
I understand what you're saying now. Yes,
even though Bad Bunny may have been training a little bit, there's absolutely no way he can get in the ring and wrestle for 15 minutes and act fine and act he knows everything.
I'm not saying that Bad Bunny can't wrestle. I mean, I've never seen him. I mean, I'm sure he definitely wasn't. He did one splash before. Recently. However, what I am saying is that Bad Bunny is not caliber as some other people in the WWE.
It's not going to be good. But that match, I don't want this match to be bad, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's not going to be that good.
With that in mind, with storyline purposes, I gotta go Bianca Belair on this. I think that they are going to make her the face of the SmackDown Women's Division, like it or not. I wouldn't say I have the biggest problem with it. I don't really. It's just, I just don't know where they're going with the SmackDown Women's Division in general. I think that's the big thing. But I don't see where they're going with the Raw Women's Division. I wish they had like a direction. Well, I mean,
there is a direction where they're going for one of the superstars. You know who's going to win. But SmackDown, they don't have anybody built up. That's why they try to push Bianca as much as they could, even though she's not ready. Is because they've already used everybody on this, and they're not going to use a lot of the smaller women on there that don't have as much traction right now. They're just the only three people that they're going to use is Sasha, Bianca, and Bayley. They try to use Carmella. That's dead in the water. Where is she now? Honestly. Freaking Reginald has gotten more screen time in the last couple weeks following their match than Carmella has. That's saying something. That's sad. You try to build her up as a new heel for Sasha, and it's done nothing.
I just don't know where she disappeared to, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. You have Reginald go every day, like almost every Friday on SmackDown, involving himself in the Bianca and Sasha feud, when Carmella's nowhere to be found. Like, you would think that he was trying to say, don't go for Sasha, Bianca, go for Raw so that Carmella can have the championship. No, she's nowhere. They dropped the gimmick as soon as it started, and it's honestly sad for her, just because if she tried to prepare for it, and try to actually be different, and then they just screw her over.
In all honesty, I think I prefer Bianca Belair over Carmella. Well, I get what you're saying.
Yes, but come on. And I swear we better have differences on night 2.
Oh, we definitely will.
Because I'm going to kick you in the head.
I
We're
just-
not having another stalemate.
No, we won't have a stalemate. I don't think. Unless that main event of night 2 is the same for some reason.
I don't know.
I don't know why.
There
it
might
would
be a difference.
But Bianca Belair, you going Bianca Belair as well?
Yeah, I don't see Sasha winning.
I understand. So
I can see if they try to like pull a big heel move and have her win, like with shady tactics or Carmella or something getting involved, or Reginald getting involved. I don't think he will, but other than that, there's absolutely no way Sasha wins unless they try to surprise us. I don't see her winning.
But wrapping up night 1 of WrestleMania that we have confirmed so far, no differences. We're on kind of the same mindset of what's going on at WrestleMania this year. But what do we got for night 2? Okay, so the first match we're talking about.
Let's talk about. Let's get the elephant out of the room so we can just get over it quickly. I don't know if this is the match you're about to say, but I want to go ahead and say it. The women's tag team championship. Let's just get it out of the way. Get it out of the way.
I mean, I don't really have a particular order. There's no order for WrestleMania.
I know that's what I'm saying, but
yet.
I'm just saying like I don't want to talk about it like next to last because even if it happens or if it doesn't, I'm thinking it's going to be Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending against the Riot Squad and the Riot Squad wins. That's what I'm saying. That's all I got to say about it. I already talked about the women's tag division for night 1.
I just don't see them doing anything else with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I think they should go and do their singles thing. They're both better as singles competitors. I feel like this whole tag team thing should have happened at Survivor Series like it kind of was, and then kind of just go away now. They need to go and do their own things, and so that's why I say Riot Squad. And go ahead and like you said, get out of the way. I'll say Riot
because
Squad
if it happens
should
or
win.
not, it doesn't matter at this point because it could happen, it could not. It's not confirmed.
Right.
If they do confirm it, it'll probably be on Raw before Mania, and it's just going to be that kind of match. It's going to be slow.
Yeah. But besides that, yeah, so that's the same for that one, both Riot Squad. Now going back to confirmed matches, Riddle versus Sheamus for the United States Championship.
There's no way Riddle beats Sheamus. There can't be a way. He's a stoner. He's a pothead. That's a whole gimmick he has right now.
But gosh, I think he has. I don't see them slowing his train down. So
they've got to have Sheamus win. He's got to bounce back after the loss against Drew. Especially seeing the fact that Keith Lee was supposed to win the United States Championship, or at least be in the match. There is no way that they have Matt Riddle being Matt Riddle beat Sheamus. With Sheamus beating him down the last couple weeks, there's no way. Not with his stupid little flip-flop birds or whatever the hell they got coming out now. Or sandals, I mean. Maybe, is it flip-flops or sandals?
He has flip-flops.
Okay,
yeah.
that's what it's saying.
He also, does he still carry a bag? No, he doesn't have the backpack anymore. Dadgummit.
It's the scooter.
He has the scooter and he has the championship around his torso now.
Which is stupid.
Though I agree with what you're saying and I understand what you're saying, this is our first difference.
Good.
Because I don't. He's literally. They're building him up to be something else. I don't think that they'll drop it.
No,
right now.
they're not. I don't know what something else is unless it's a complete idiot.
That's his character.
That's what I'm saying. They're just building. They're building him up as an idiot. Unless they turn him heel and make him more serious.
But did they not do the same thing for RVD in the early 2000s? Did they not do the same thing? He was literally going.
I don't think they made him look like an idiot.
Well, the thing was, is he
necessarily.
So during the invasion, he was sitting there being like, I'm just happy to be here. I don't care which side I'm on, this and that. I'm the hardcore champion. I'm pretty happy where I'm at. And then he's with Kane and stuff, and he gets, I think it was shoots and ladders for his birthday or something like that. I don't know exactly. But he was being goofy.
That's more of the goofy face, not the stupid face that forgets his lines on live television and then scoots away, which apparently was a work. It was supposed to do that, and it wasn't just him being, actually forgetting. Apparently that was supposed to happen. Still, there is no way that they have him beat Sheamus, not with the way he's doing things. With Sheamus being the heel in this situation, they have to have a heel win at WrestleMania.
But
this has to be the heel win that they have at least for night 2.
And that's also where we're going to disagree. I'm not saying you're wrong or anything like that. I mean, I think we're supposed to be disagreeing on
I'm
this
glad,
a little bit.
but Riddle shouldn't win. He doesn't deserve to win.
I'm not saying if he should or should not win.
I'm just saying he just doesn't deserve it.
At this point, I think Sheamus is in the point of his career where he's going to continue to have matches. He's going to continue to have a career. But I think he's at this point where he's going to put over people. And
I don't think he is.
I think that's where Riddle comes into play right now.
I feel like they're going to... I wish they would give Sheamus's old theme music back for WrestleMania. But there's no way in hell they have Stoner Boy Riddle beat the Celtic Warrior. There's no way. Honest to God, I know people hated this result for this match. I hope it plays out like Sheamus at WrestleMania 28. He just kicks him and leaves. It's the opening match for night 2, and that's how it ends.
Yeah,
I hope to God.
I don't see that happening because he did.
I don't either, but I hope.
Because Matt Riddle did that to Ono.
Exactly, paying it back, paying it
forward.
But
they've both had that. They've done that to people at different events. So I don't see it. I can see it being a little bit of a longer match.
I hope to God not. I hope Sheamus beats him quick.
I'm going Riddle on this one.
If it's just my heart telling me I need to have Sheamus win, or else I'm not gonna have any happiness for the United States Championship. The title's gonna die again. It was getting good with, it was okay with Bobby, but it was getting good with Cena. It was getting good with Styles in his first run, and even with his second run, at least he was putting out some good matches with Ricochet and stuff. But come on, man, it died with Andrade. They had to pick it up somehow, even with Apollo being the United States champion. It's got to be interesting. With Matt Riddle, it's not interesting. You didn't even have Bobby get his rubber match, and I guess that was to make him look strong, but still.
If Riddle was going to go into Mania to lose in a couple seconds, then it should be Goldberg and Riddle. However, we do not have that, so I'm going with Riddle to win. But I understand you are choosing Sheamus, so we have our first difference. Moving on to the next match, we are talking about Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, the Fight Forever match.
Kevin Owens. I'm going ahead and putting on Kevin
Really?
Owens. There's no... I know I say this a lot, that there's no way that this... It could go either way, but I hope to God they don't have Logan Paul get involved in this match. It has to be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has to win this. Continue the feud with Sami to make it better, other than, Kevin Owens being the good friend trying to help Sami Zayn. Make this a match like Kevin Steen and El Generico. Sami Zayn has probably watched his mentor's matches before anyway, so he knows exactly how El Generico can wrestle. But Sami Zayn needs to be the heel of it. It's he gets beat, then it's it's not fair. Continue the conspiracy saying that he got beat. It's not fair that he got beat, this and that. And so it continues a feud with Kevin Owens for at least 3 matches or something, to where they can actually have a blow-off match and a hardcore ladder match or something, reminiscent of Kevin Steen and El Generico. This is an ROH caliber. This is the second ROH caliber match that they can have on WrestleMania and on both nights. They need to have Kevin Owens win, in my opinion. He's been screwed over enough with the recent stuff with Roman and stuff like that, not getting a good match out of it. He needs to win this.
I'm going Sami Zayn. I think that though, yes, Sami's whole entire story is it's should have been me, or just please just let me be the face of the company, and it's a conspiracy. He's like a Joe Rogan. My whole thing is that I think that this will continue a story, but in a different way than you're thinking. I think that Sami's going to beat Kevin Owens, not in a fluke, but I think it will just happen kind of weird.
If Sami Zayn does beat him, it's going to be because of Logan Paul.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it will be. I guarantee it.
But do you remember how we were talking about Miz and Shane, and how Shane kind of had his arm over Miz, and that counted as a
yes, but that's different.
Here's what I'm saying is that Sami this entire time has been, it should have been me, it should always be me, I should be the winner, I should be the face of, I should be the Intercontinental Champion, stuff like that. However, what if Sami wins, and then Kevin Owens is like, hey, That should have been me. I got screwed over.
Are
I
you
should
saying
won.
have a double turn?
No.
Okay, I was
I'm not
about to
saying a
say.
double turn. What I'm saying is that, hey, you've been sitting here talking about how you've been screwed over. Well, I just got screwed over now. It's like some fluke win. Not like he didn't, like a DQ or anything like that. But
Like a roll up or something.
Yeah, something
like
like that.
Kevin Owens' hand was on the rope, but he counted to 3.
Yeah, something like that.
Sami Zayn's feet were holding him up on the rope or something,
something
holding the tights.
Something on the lines of that. And then, KO's like, no, I should be, it should be me. And then Sami is, at this point, he's won his match. Now he's not, it should have been me. Now you're a copycat. You're trying to take my thing because I got to win finally, and you're trying to take this away from me. And then Adam Pearce.
Or taunting him, saying that he's a loser.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And then Adam Pearce, I don't know, whoever makes the matches on SmackDown now, they make a match for Extreme Rules. I guess that's the next pay-per-view that's coming up, would be Extreme Rules or something like that. But it would be a stipulation match where Kevin Owens would actually get the win. So I think Sami's going to win so that they can kind of do a reverse, not a double turn, but like a reverse thing where
a reversal of roles.
And not really Kevin Owens being bitter, but it's more of like, hey, how can you sit there and say that you've been screwed over and then you screwed me over? And it's like, no, now you're just taking away from me. This is even more of a conspiracy. He's keeping the conspiracy thing going, but in a different way. Instead of I don't get anything, it's like now you're trying to take it away from me.
I don't know. I don't personally see that. I see Kevin Owens winning, but I mean, to each their own.
I like the idea of us differing, though. 2 completely different storylines going on. But besides that, speaking of the Intercontinental Championship, let's talk about Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship on night 2.
This is hard for me.
It is a hard one, isn't it?
Because I don't know if they want to make Apollo lose, like, what was it, 2? Every time that Apollo and Big E have had a match, he's lost. And I hate to say that they want Big E. I want Big E to win. But the fact that Apollo is, like, still at his back, like, and barking, just breathing down his back. I was going to say coughing at his throat. That doesn't make any sense. That's not an analogy. Breathing down his back, he's always there, and it's turned, like, I guess, quote, personal, the way they're doing things. I have to go Apollo just because I feel like that this is where they're going to give him the win, and it's going to be like an upset heel victory. And I don't know. I don't want to say Apollo wins because I want Big E to win, but I don't know. I don't see them having Big E beat Apollo so many times when they're trying to reinvent Apollo's character just for him to be like further down the card again, just not being used. There has to be a reason for this.
Well,
so that Big E can have like his redemption again.
I can see this match going both ways. However, I'm going to set in stone. I'm going to put Big E. Not because I don't think that Apollo has what it takes to be the champion. He's been the United States champion, and he has what it takes to be a champion. However, I just don't see them making Big E lose at Mania. I can see them maybe giving the belt to Apollo, probably Extreme Rules, Backlash, whatever the next pay-per-view or 2 is going to be. I don't see this being the end of the feud, so...
Well, if Apollo loses, there's no reason for this feud to continue.
But they like to keep feuds going, don't they, though? So...
Yeah, but
I'm personally going Big E.
Well, my problem is the feud has been going on for so long. Apollo being face, slow turning heel, then fully turning heel. He's lost every single time. They have to give him a win at this point. Like, why would you have him lose again? Like, building up his character as this Nigerian, royalty, having him change his character of his whole time, only to have him lose again. There's no point in it. I mean, I know how WWE thinks sometimes because they have him lose all the time. But, like, there's no point in having Apollo lose. While I want Big E to win and have his moment as a singles competitor at WrestleMania like Kofi did at 35, I just don't see it. They have to have Big E win. Or, not Big E, I'm sorry. They have to have Apollo win to cement his character as, like, another heel for SmackDown. They don't have enough good heels.
I'm really surprised we have so... I knew we were going to have, like, 1 or 2 differences.
I mean, I'm glad night 2 is different.
Wow, we have so many differences. Okay, so Apollo for you, Big E for me. That sounds good to me. Moving on to the next match, the one that we kind of mentioned earlier that's kind of weird, and the build-up has been actually more than most of them, but still kind of weird. Fiend versus Randy Orton.
I don't even want to talk about this match. We already know who's going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go Fiend.
Fiend. I don't know if... I feel bad for not talking about this match long, but what is there to talk about? Like, it's the Fiend's comeback. He has to win. There's no way...
It's the Fiend's comeback.
This is probably This is a perfect time for Orton to leave. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, he'll come back.
He's been working for a while. He needs a break.
It's a vacation that Orton always gets. Have him have the vacation, come back. Maybe not in the title feud, but like come back for a little bit. Maybe go down to NXT or something to have that match with Karrion Kross that people have been talking about. But like, Fiend's got to win. The way they've been building this up, Orton had the last laugh at TLC. Fiend gets the last laugh here when he beats him. Be it in a regular match or a Firefly Funhouse, we don't know what it's going to be. Right now, it's just a regular match.
Yeah, but with the Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton match, we didn't know what to expect, and now here we are with
but that was pre-recorded
title because we don't know.
But that was pre-recorded.
Go.
This one's not going to be pre-recorded. They're going to do it in front of an audience like it was supposed to be last year. That's why they made the Firefly Funhouse match. But Fiend had his redemption against Cena at WrestleMania. Fiend was wronged by Randy Orton, or Bray Wyatt was wronged by Randy Orton at WrestleMania. So you have to have Fiend, in my eyes, beat Orton here.
Right, and I agree. Our first agreed match, besides the possible women's tag team match, but
there's just not much more to say about that.
No, I mean
the build up is enough. This is the one match
close to a 6-month build.
Yeah, this has been the one match they've built up properly, even if it's been slow here and there
and weird.
This is the only one that they've built up, and it's been a long time build, like they're supposed to. But no, they don't do that. This is the only one. So I'm happy to just say what we said and say Fiend's gonna win. Right. There's no way Orton wins.
Gonna win. We have 2 more matches, but the first one we will be talking about is Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship.
Come on. This is Rhea Ripley's moment, and while I hate it for Asuka, I wish Asuka would have this moment for her. They have to give Rhea Ripley the title to make up and have her turn heel right after. She has said that she went soft when she turned face. Right the wrong that Rhea Ripley has been having, have her turn heel like sometime after this. Asuka has to drop this title. Give Asuka some time off. She's been in her week in and week out, except for getting injured by Shayna recently. Let her heal. Like, she's not healed all the way, I don't think, with her tooth. So let her heal a little bit and let her come back, but this is Rhea Ripley's moment. The one that she should have had last year when she was wrongfully beaten. They shouldn't have had They shouldn't have had Charlotte win last year. That was the worst decision besides the Raw Women's Championship match last year where Becky should have gotten beaten by Shayna. Those were the 2 worst booking decisions, in my opinion, at WrestleMania in the last couple years. Well, not maybe the biggest, but one of the biggest wrong decisions that they made. They have to right this wrong for Rhea. They have to. Give her a Raw Women's Championship. Let her carry that. Let her be the first women's superstar to win the NXT Women's, NXT UK Women's, and the Raw Women's Championship. Let her be the first person to do that. That is an impressive milestone that no one will probably do again, unless maybe Toni Storm or somebody in the future.
Possibly, yeah.
Give her her moment. Let her have it. She was my pick for the Royal Rumble. And even though she didn't win, honestly, she's probably getting the better deal out of the 2 because she's on night 2. You know, night 2 is the one that most people are going to have their eyes on because it's the appropriate Sunday pay-per-view. Saturday, while it has good matches on there, most people are probably going to look at night 2 more so than night 1 sometimes. It might be the opposite, but like, what night has more marquee matches, honestly?
You're gonna find my answer on that in the next match we talk about. So
I mean, there's like a lot more championship matches on night 2, which most people care about. There's more some more storytelling. Not all this match in particular, but like it's you got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, you got Big E and Apollo, you got the triple threat match main event, you've got all these championship matches.
It just seems like more of a SmackDown side of the
Oh
the
yeah,
deal.
but like this to me, this one seems like the more important night to me, just because all of the matches going on. You have this is the night where most titles can change hands if they do, in which I think at least I've actually said all of them at this point are changing hands. I think I've said every single title is going to change hands at this point, and it's not going to be any different in the next match.
Right. But yes, Rhea Ripley for both. And now we come to the main event of night 2, the big match that everyone's kind of been talking about.
The
And
hardest
also,
decision
the
to make.
hardest decision, and not only that, even with probably some of the least amount of time to build up a match, some of the best build up we've had in a long time. With good
I wouldn't
heel,
say that.
well, it's good heel work, it's good face, baby face work. I mean, it really is a good storyline. I mean, at first I was like, meh, whatever. But then once we get to Fastlane and the weeks right before Fastlane, man, it was good. I enjoyed it. But probably the hardest decision out of the entire pay-per-view.
The only reason it's a hard decision, it's not because, you obviously want one person to win. It literally can go 3 ways.
Right.
2 more so than 1, but you either have Roman coming out on top and proving that he's the head of the table, which I honestly don't think will happen. This is the night that Roman drops the title and like gets pissed off about it and demands a rematch. You can have Edge win the championship that he's never lost technically because it's not the WWE title, it's a secondary title. Win the championship he's never lost and, come full circle from when I think it's on the day or almost on the day that he had to retire.
It is the day.
So it's like that is a major part of it. You have Edge win, or you have Daniel Bryan entering himself again in the main event of WrestleMania in a triple threat match, who could come in, who says that it's possibly one of his last, it's possibly his last WrestleMania. Especially his last WrestleMania main event, but it could be his last WrestleMania. At least as a full-time superstar, you have him carry the title. The one title that he has not won in the WWE as of yet, which is the Universal title. But like I said, but Edge as well, that's the one title he hasn't won. It's hard. It's very hard to decide, and I've been thinking about it honestly. You have technically 2 heels in a match now.
Right.
It's the same thing with WrestleMania 30. It's 7 years in the making. I'm gonna have to say Daniel Bryan walks away. And I want Edge to win. Part of me wants Edge to win just because he hasn't won a championship since, but he's also not been. And how many matches has he honestly been in the last couple of years? He's been in, WrestleMania. No, I'm sorry. He came out at the Royal Rumble last year, WrestleMania last year, Backlash. And then he was hurt, came back at Royal Rumble, had a match at on SmackDown. He's only had 5 matches in the last year.
Right.
Since coming back. This will be his 6th. Honestly, how many matches do you think he's going to have because of his, because of management's fear over his neck? Fair. He's not going to be a champion like Daniel Bryan would be. Night in and night out, having a match, doing this, doing that. Even Roman hasn't had, honestly, that many matches since he came back. Daniel Bryan made that clear in his promo, saying that in the last, I think at the time he said 3 months, he's had more matches in the last 3 weeks than Roman, at the time, that Roman and Edge had in the last 3 months. I don't see why they wouldn't have Daniel win this championship again, or actually for the first time, being the champion again, being the top babyface of SmackDown, and possibly the company. And, I don't see him not winning. I mean, I can't see him not winning because Edge, but I don't see, in long term, Daniel Bryan not being champion.
Right.
Because it could lead into a Daniel Bryan Edge feud, which a lot of people would like to see.
With this being the most difficult match to choose, I have to say that though Daniel Bryan should win, and yeah, Roman's had the belt for quite a long time, and not only that, he's made himself a big heel, and not even just like a baby face with heel tendencies. He is a full heel now, like people wanted him to be. And then you have Edge, who, you want to win because, it's just, 10 years in the making. You just want it to happen. I don't see them stopping Roman and his championship run right now.
Whoa. Are you serious right now? You were thinking that they're going to have the big dog come out on top?
I think Roman is going to stay because I think
I figured you would have said Edge.
There's too much bad blood going between Edge and Daniel Bryan, and
so
I don't see them having.
So you're saying that because of what's going on with Edge and Daniel Bryan, that's going to put more focus on each other than Roman, and Roman's going to take the win.
Absolutely.
He's going to pick up on them doing that, and he's going to win.
Well, I'm not saying just Edge and Daniel. They're just focused on themselves, and then Roman's just going to pick up the spare parts. And yes, kind of.
Well, he's already done that. He's already done that with Braun and The Fiend.
Yes. But what I am saying, and I'm not, like I said, kind of is what I'm saying. But what I am trying to say is that they are building Roman up to be this big, bad heel, and I don't see them stopping it right now. I don't see them stopping it whatsoever right now.
I disagree. I mean, I agree that is a possibility. I 100% agree that is a possibility. But when you think about it, that's on the lower end. Out of 100%, that is the lowest end. Like, you have Edge and Daniel Bryan being the higher percentage of winning. You have Roman being the lower percent. To me, it just makes more sense for Daniel Bryan to win. Or Edge to win, really. I mean, they have more riding on this. Roman, he's gonna win the championship again, regardless. Depending on whether he's on SmackDown or Raw, it doesn't matter. He's quite literally the head of the table, just because he's the one that WWE is gonna keep pushing until they can't push him anymore. He's gonna win it back, even if he loses it. It doesn't matter at this point. Let him drop the title. It's gonna be the same thing that could have happened at WrestleMania, what was it, 31?
Yeah.
Honestly, how many championship matches has Roman won in WrestleMania? 1? Yeah.
He's only won once, but however, he's
won
beaten
3
the
times.
Undertaker, which
4
is
times.
more than any belt could have.
That's stupid. He's won 4 times at WrestleMania, right? No, more than that. He won at 29, 30, 32, 33, and 35. He's won 5 times.
Yeah. And he would have most definitely won 36 if he would have been able to be there.
And that would have been the main event. You already know. They would not have had Drew main event had Roman been there.
I disagree. I think they still would have had a main event.
They would have had Drew be co-main event. They would not have had him yet because they would have had it a faster match. They would have had almost the exact same match that they had.
I don't think they would have had back-to-back.
It would have been not back-to-back matches. They would have had. They would have had Roman go on last to beat Goldberg, like they were planning, because they even said that was main event. But because it got switched, they had Drew main event. They wouldn't have given that to Drew. They would have pulled some of the old crap that they did back in the day, like Undertaker win the Royal Rumble and then being before a freaking Lumberjill match. They would have done that crap, not given the proper main event, the main event, and given it to someone like Roman and Goldberg, who nobody cared to see, and nobody wants to see, but they thought it'd be a marquee match because of Roman fans.
But dang, that Shawn Michaels Cena match was pretty great, though.
But it shouldn't have been the main event.
Oh, but it was better.
The Royal Rumble winner should be the main event.
Undertaker and Batista had a better match at the following pay-per-view than they did at Mania itself.
But the Royal Rumble winner should be the main event of WrestleMania. That's what they said. When you win the Royal Rumble, you are guaranteed a main event at WrestleMania. Now it has a different definition because there's a different definition for a main event. It could be higher on the card to be the main event, or it could be. They don't say that it's going to be the main event, which is the final match. When they say main event, they just mean that you're gonna be guaranteed a big match at WrestleMania is what it means.
But this year, if everything is what that people have been talking about is true,
both
Royal
winners
Rumble,
will.
Yeah, will main event.
But the problem is, it hasn't been like that for the last couple of years. That's what's sad.
But who knows if maybe this is a different trend and we actually are going to get main events for Royal Rumble winners now.
If Nakamura and AJ Styles have been given the opportunity to have the main event and not do that stupid turn the way that they did, that would have been one of the greatest WrestleMania main events because they would have freaking floored it. They would have pulled out something they would have done in the Tokyo Dome.
But do you think that like I think that match was
that
great,
deserved the main event more than Roman and Brock.
And I completely agree with that. But do you think that that WrestleMania match with Nakamura and Styles compared to the Wrestle Kingdom 12 match?
That's why I said if they were given the main event and proper time to do it, they would have pulled out a better match and not done that stupid turn.
Right.
They would have had the opportunity to be the main event and be the best that they could have been, just like that Wrestle Kingdom match. Maybe if it wasn't exactly on par, like if the Wrestle Kingdom match was the best one they could have pulled off, they would have pulled off something great had they been given that opportunity and not been delegated to like high on the card, but not in the main event. It would have been, even with that stupid turn, it would have been a lot better in the main event than it would have been having Brock win and having a sour taste in your mouth just seeing that stupid feud continue with Roman all bloody. While that was cool, it still, like it didn't sit well with me having Brock win that match the way that it did. Having it end so abruptly like it did, it just felt so stupid. It shouldn't have been the main event. As long as they do this main event good, it'll be fine. But they cannot do what they did in previous years. This main event needs to be on par with, even if WrestleMania 30 wasn't as good, it needs to be on par with WrestleMania 30 and it needs to be on par with WrestleMania 20. These are good workers. They can pull out something like those kind of triple threats that have been the main event. They need to do something like that. Maybe not like Randy Orton, Triple H, and Cena. I feel like that might have been good, but still, this is the main event. You need to pull out all the stops. There's guaranteed gonna be a spear through the barricade or a double spear through the table or something like that by one of them. You are guaranteed a spot like that with two main superstars that has that finisher.
Right.
The only problem is I feel like Edge won't be taking as many bumps. It'll be Roman and Dangle taking a majority of bumps just so that they can be safe with Edge. Edge will still be heavily involved in the match. You won't see someone doing a superplex on Edge.
Yeah.
You won't see Edge taking or probably giving a spear through a barricade. Or maybe even on the ground. Just because of what happened last time. I don't see that. But I see that. I do see that maybe Roman gets double powerbomb through the table. And maybe that's how they take him out of the equation. It's Edge and Daniel Bryan left. Or you have Daniel Bryan tap out Roman. Or maybe, I don't feel like they'll have him tap out Roman. They won't have, that's what it is. They won't have Roman take the pin or submit if he does lose. It'll be Edge or Bryan doing it.
Right.
They won't have Roman look weak.
But besides that, we have a lot of differences, especially for night 2. Which means it really can go both ways on the 11th.
What you hoping for? Because I'm looking forward to beating your ass at WrestleMania.
Oh, you really think that, huh?
I'm looking forward to it. Even if I get a handful of matches wrong, as long as I pull out the stops and beat you, I'm fine.
Well,
because that belt is coming home. It is going to. It is the championship that I rightfully won and unrightfully lost because we both made the decision.
I rightfully won that
we
belt
made
at Fastlane.
No, you didn't.
And
that was a BS. That was a BS match. That should not have happened that way. I was screwed out, even though I did say, let's let's just vacate it. That was, a compromise that I made. Because I even said, I'm not mad if you win. I'm not mad if you would win. But this stupid match didn't have correct rules. It should have ended 5 times already. Because they didn't state it. I was okay with you winning. But seeing the fact that we both came to the common ground saying that it should be vacated, I'm happy with it, but it is rightfully mine. I never lost it.
Well, I'm definitely
even though I would have been okay with losing it that night.
I'm definitely
but
going
still.
to take it from you on WrestleMania. But besides that, we got some stuff going on, some heat going on between you and I.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 37, April 10th and 11th. If you're watching it, have fun watching it, as we are going to try to have as much fun as physically possible watching it. If not, we are going to post our predictions that you just heard on Instagram the day of WrestleMania. But besides that, we have some stuff coming up after WrestleMania season that we're going to start doing on the podcast. Don't really want to kind of get into it right yet, but it's pretty exciting stuff. I think it's going to be some great stuff. It's something different than we've done in the past, something that we're going to try to start new with, kind of maybe more of like series rather than just one-off videos and podcasts. But I'm pretty excited about it. How about you, Don?
Yeah, I mean, I have some ideas. Even though I host the regular podcast, some of the series that I'm thinking of, either you can host or I can host primarily, and switch it up a bit, because just certain ideas that I'm having, especially with one series that we're going to have right after, right here soon with the podcast, I'm really happy about. I'm really excited about, just because it'll be something different. It's not going to be predictions. It's not going to be, well, predictions is a new series, but it's more of just a one-off thing with us. It's going to be interesting because it's not going to be like a list or anything like that. It's more of just different things, and I'm happy, but I don't want to go into too many details before it gets posted. But hopefully they'll hopefully be filmed. At least the first series that we're doing is back to back. Hopefully it won't take too long to get them out, with school ending soon. So there's hope.
Absolutely.
And then there's hope for the regular podcast to get back up and running as well.
Oh, it's going to get back up and running. WrestleMania season, you got to kind of focus on that, We got a lot of stuff going on. You can follow me on Instagram at ClintonWells2001. You can follow our music engineer at chance.cummings.507.
You can follow me on Instagram at EllieDoBrand. And you can also follow a longtime supporter and friend that has helped with the podcast, and who will be on the podcast, on the regular podcast here shortly, at EthanThompson._ on Instagram.
You can follow the LA Do podcast at LADo_podcast on Instagram. You can follow the wrestling podcast at LADo_wrestling podcast. You can find the LA Do podcast and the LA Do wrestling podcast soon at YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. WrestleMania, April 10th and 11th, 2021.